Well, hello everybody. I'd like to talk today about another biblical hero. And I'd like to start our story in the North African town of Cyrene. You can see where that is on the map right here. Now, Cyrene was an ancient Greek and then Roman town in what is modern-day Libya. It was actually the oldest of the 5 Greek cities in the region, and these 5 cities together were called the Pentapolis. And we know of a few people in the Bible from Cyrene. When Jesus stumbled with the cross, a man called Simon from Cyrene was pulled from the crowd to help carry the beam. He became a follower of Jesus, by the way, and his son Rufus also became a follower of Jesus. Rufus is mentioned in Mark and in Romans. And quite an amazing church sprang up in Cyrene after this. We know of at least 6 godly elders that were from that church. These are the ruins of Cyrene today. You can see the amphitheatre and the temple to the god Zeus. It was a very green city. It was built on a beautiful spring. Now, in this city there lived a reasonably well-off Greek man by the name of Aristobulus. It's widely believed that he was involved in politics and he dealt with many Romans at quite a high level. He met and he fell in love with a Jewish girl from the priestly tribe of Levi. Her name was Miriam, or Mary, which is the same name. And they set up house together in the city. They soon had a son who was given 2 names. The first name, Yochanan, or John. Now, John was the most popular Jewish man's name, and his second name was Marcus. Marcus was the most popular Greek man's name. Later on in life he also was given a nickname, and that nickname was Kolobodactylus. What a horrible Greek word. Kolobodactylus simply means stubby fingers, short fingers, and perhaps tells us a little bit about the stature of our man. More about that later perhaps. Now, John Mark, or just Mark, was the author of the 2nd of the Gospels inside our Bibles.
The Gospel according to Mark is one of the first accounts of the life of Jesus, and our earliest historical traditions link this book to a Christian scribe named Mark, or John Mark. He was a co-worker with Paul and a close partner with Peter. And in fact, an ancient church historian named Papias, he recalls that Mark had collected all of the eyewitness accounts and memories of Peter and then shaped them into this account. But Mark didn't just randomly throw the pieces together. He's carefully designed this story of Jesus. In the first line of the book, Mark makes this claim about Jesus. It's the beginning of the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. Now, what's interesting is that this is the only time Mark is going to tell you what he thinks. For the rest of the book, he's going to influence you by simply putting Jesus' actions and words in front of you and showing you how other people react to him. Now, Mark's designed the story of Jesus as a drama with 3 acts. The first one set in Galilee, the third one is set in Jerusalem, and the second act shows Jesus on the way from one place to the other. And each of the acts focuses on a repeated theme. So in Act 1, everybody's blown away by Jesus, and they're wondering, who is this Jesus? In Act 2, it's the disciples who are struggling to understand what it means for Jesus to be the Messiah. And then in Act 3, we watch the surprising paradox of how Jesus becomes the Messianic king. Let's just dive in and you'll see how it unfolds. After the opening line, Mark begins with a quotation from the ancient prophets Isaiah and Malachi, who said that God would send a messenger to Israel to prepare them for when God would show up himself to rescue his people and become their king. And Mark introduces John the Baptist as that messenger, and then right when you expect God to show up personally, Mark introduces Jesus. And as he comes onto the scene, the heavens open, God's Spirit descends on Jesus, and God says, "You are my beloved Son." After this, Mark places in front of us a summary of Jesus' core message. He went about Galilee announcing the good news that God's kingdom has come near. Jesus is carrying forward the story from the Old Testament scriptures about God's rescue operation for his world. Through Jesus, God is restoring his reign over the world by confronting and defeating evil and its hold on people's lives, and then by inviting them to live under his reign by following Jesus.